this podcast is going to be kind of like the Foolish Adventure rebooted.
Nice.
We're talking about online business, building freedom through entrepreneurship. And I figured you're like the perfect person to have on for my first guest.
Cheers, man. Happy to do it. I think it's fun. I think it's needed, right? I mean, there's so much hype in the world that we play in, and you've seen it for generations. I've seen it for generations. Like, it goes way past Rich Jerk, all that stuff, right? And I think that the newer generation of entrepreneurs coming up, they don't understand some of these core, I would say, direct response marketing ethoses that actually underpin all of our success. And it's getting like Instagram Lambo bro simmered down to this weird new thing. So I think your voice is needed, and I think it's a good idea to reboot this, man.
Oh man, I appreciate that. Yeah, I was just like feeling this need to like go back to my roots, because I talked about this stuff years ago in the what now they call the early days of podcasting, which I thought I was late when I got there. And I just thought this is something that everybody keeps asking about. And even back when I first started podcasting, which was 2010. So we're talking 15, like I'm old now, 15 years ago, right? And looking back at that, and the internet had already been commercially viable for like 15, 16 years.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, a generation's worth of time had already passed. And in 2010, people were thinking, well, is this thing just a fad? Can you actually make money on the internet? Can you build a business by doing what you know, doing what you love? And the answer was yes in 1995. And in 2010, people were saying, oh, is this even possible? And then I started seeing especially at the beginning of this year, that really got me thinking about this, was people were saying the same thing again. It's like
the I'm late kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I'm late. Does it still work? Is it something that I could do? And the answer has been yes since 1995.
Totally.
Right.
I mean, I chose myself in 2003 to just start doing affiliate marketing. I learned it from a dude in college, essentially spamming MySpace. You know, it's one of those things that you can just do things. I still think that's actually what most people are waiting for, because they went through the public school indoctrination system and they were told to wait in line until the bell rings and you wait in the single file line and no cuts. And, you know, like, so it's just every single ounce of spirit is, you know, they just try to beat it out of children through arduous sitting in specific lines and rows and things. But the truth is, we can just do things. You don't have to ask permission for anybody. You can just go get a hosting account and just start publishing like your life depends on it. And now AI is here, and it's like, well, can't? Yeah, sure, go. I don't know. Nobody knows, right? Like, we're all, there's a small group of us who are blazing forward at breakneck speed, testing new things, iterating and going forward. And then there's like 99.8% of people who are sitting on their hands. They're consuming some variation of Netflix, marijuana, wine, beer, or other mood alterations, and they're thinking about things, and they're consuming content, and they're watching other people take action, and they're living vicariously, and they're doing fuck all of nothing. Right. And it's the exact same as it was in 2003. It was the exact same as it was in 2009. It's literally the same thing. Some people choose themselves. I'm just going to do this, and then we just do it. And we just keep going. And then you have the survivorship conversation after that, right? And then some of us actually do make it, you know, decades in and completely transform our lives.
So let's get into a little bit of your story.
Sure.
We met, what was it? Briefly in Barcelona, right? You came to...
it was Chiang Mai was first. We met in Chiang Mai at the entrepreneur thing after DC BKK 2017.
Yeah, it was 16, 17. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, so almost a decade ago.
Mm-hmm.
And
Jesus.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we're just we're like the old people in this conversation now. I've gone white. I gotta dye my beard now because I'm so old. So what got you to give yourself permission? Like, what was the thing? What was the impetus that said, hey, I'm going to not only give myself permission to build a business and pay for my own life,
Yeah.
but to go enjoy it too?
Yeah. So there's phases to it, right? The earliest phase was I grew up in kind of a working class, middle class, working class, poor family. My dad was like a union worker for the newspapers, which obviously they aren't doing very well. Money was always a challenge. I had to buy my first car. I started my first job at the age of 14 at a pizza parlor, which I don't even think is legal. Don't know how that worked, but it somehow did. So I was like just a hustler, like, Jesus, I got to figure out this money game. I grew up in the Bay Area. Everything was expensive. So I was always looking for, right? Like the awareness creates a reality, consciousness creates a reality. So I was just constantly looking for like, okay, what's my opportunity? Grew up in the Bay Area where there's .com people doing .com things. I graduated high school in 99, right? The peak of .com insanity. So my mindset was right that there was a way. I had a lot of belief that it was possible. And then a happen chance encounter with a guy at my college radio station, and he kind of taught me how the basics of affiliate marketing through MySpace. And while I was working a full-time job, paying for my college, going to do a full load in college, driving across the San Mateo Bridge 6 times a day on a bad day, listening to audiobooks, trying to build this up, I just knew something. I had to do something different. I looked at the job path, the work 40 years to not really have enough at the end type concept. And I was like, okay, that's not for me. I watched the corporations just kind of shit on my dad. And, he was fully vested. They fired him like 2 years before his full vesting. And they just kind of, corporations will let go of humans as fast as they possibly can. We're seeing that again right now as AI inference phase kind of rolls forward. So I just it was like this urgency of like, oh shit, I have to figure out something outside of the system. And then I do think it's one of those things like, is it luck? Is it hard work? Is it both? And it's like the harder I work, the luckier I get. Right. So not only did I hear from this buddy about this thing, I just went all in on it. I just literally, when I was done with schoolwork and work at night, I would spend 3 or 4 hours clicking add friend. I mean, it was literally, that's all we did back then was you just added friends, you built these huge accounts and you just promote shit through the newsfeed essentially. And I had like 7 or 8 accounts. I was just add friend every waking minute I had. So I think it was out of a disgust of the thought of being 20 and working for 40 years to not have enough. And then from that, I started kind of like learning like, oh, this stuff works. You get the first couple of checks in the mail. It builds the belief even more. That all came crumbling down. And once you have tasted the freedom of mailbox money, we can call it, I think.
That's because how we're all.
That's it. So once it happened once and it fell apart, it was like, fuck, okay, I got to figure this out again. Sorry for the F-bombs. I hope this is an F-bomb friendly podcast you have. But so it was like, I have to figure this out again, and really dabbled in about 7 or 8 different things between about 2005 and 2009. And it was in 2009 when I met my wife, and she was really interested in spirituality. She had just gotten out of college. She did college basketball. So she had just a massive amount of discipline built in, pre-wired to her brain. Mm-hmm. We kind of collabed on what I knew about how content marketing and traffic worked, and her absolute fascination and interest with the world of spirituality. And she became the content publisher. I became the content optimizer. And that was like magic. And it's actually still the magic. That was 2009. It's now, 16 years later, and it's still the main source of active income in our world.
Yeah, that's an awesome story on its own, and we'll get to that. But one of the things that you brought up was that hustle as a kid. Mm-hmm. That was me too. So what about all the people out there that weren't the kid hustler?
Yeah.
Right. They still want this life. Is it even possible for them?
Yeah.
Well, maybe there's,
if they're watching this.
Right. Well, yeah. If they're listening to this podcast, then probably like they're at least a seeker, right?
Yeah.
They're seeking something. They might not believe that they can take action.
Right.
They might have excuses that they're putting in the way of their action.
Mhm.
And there could be a lot of things that's keeping them from going. But there's something that Gary Vaynerchuk used to say. It's like entrepreneurship's in your DNA. Like it's a DNA thing. If you don't have it in your DNA, it'll never happen. And that resonated with me because, well,
Yeah.
I hustled ever since I was a little child.
Yeah.
So,
You know, another word that I would even kind of mix in with hustle is ambition, right? Like, what is ambition? Where does ambition come from? Who has ambition? I also think that there's a whole generation of people right now who are brainwashed by the greedy gurus, and they've been brainwashed to think this is easy because the greedy gurus have to sell you the easy button with their $3,000 coaching, and it'll be easy once you pay me thousands of dollars. And then they just teach coaches how to coach coaches who coach coaches, and nobody actually learns real world skills. So there's people who are like, they think they're trying to go down the path, but they're actually just cash flowing someone else's machine, because the truth is no gurus, no big expensive courses. You build and you learn through building. So it's like, what is that thing and that moment that gets people to shift from thinking about it, wondering about it, hoping about it, to like taking action? And action is not watching YouTube videos. Action is not buying courses. Action is not watching webinars. Action is not paying attention to what gurus are doing. Action is crafting an offer, writing a shitty sales letter version 1.0, writing shitty ads 1.0, running it, measuring what happened, and then, here's the magic part, thinking. Okay, I tried ABC because I thought this niche wanted that thing. Turns out with a 1.2% conversion rate, they don't. Okay, what do I do from here? And another step and another step. So it's kind of like, how bad do you want it, right? There's a guy, E.T., the hip hop preacher, Eric Thomas, and he has these old videos on YouTube. It's the How Bad Do You Want It series. And what it is I think there's the newer generation of kids, we're getting to where the helicopter kid generation are becoming adults.
Yeah.
And they say they want it. They look at their friends trying to flaunt it on Instagram, even though none of those people actually have it. They're just, getting really good angles on life.
right.
And they think they want it, but yet they've never had to do anything difficult in their life. And they don't actually want it bad enough. And it's not until you want it as bad as you want to breathe that it's going to happen to you, right? The utter disgust and paralyzing fear of being poor all my life was the fire that I needed to say, F that. I was blessed to be born in the United States of America. I can speak English. I graduated from public school. Like, so many of my friends, so many friends have died along the way. I mean, from alcohol stuff, from stupid stuff on motorcycles and cars. It's magic that I'm alive. Go. Don't waste this opportunity. So is that a spiritual thing? Is that, I don't know. I don't. And so, I started teaching everything Melanie and I did on, to build our business for free on YouTube. And like, the number of people who take action on that stuff is so small. And the number of people who actually built, it's astonishing to me that it really is like 1% of people who ever like try something are ever going to even make it to near the goal line type thing. And I don't fully understand what it is. But I do know that once you make that shift and the why, like, I have to do this for my family. I have to do this because Social Security is not going to be there for me, right? It might not even be the solvent for my parents who are in their 70s right now. So I might need to take care of my parents. I got to take care of myself. I might live to 120 or 150 years old with some of the new technologies and the AI and all this stuff that's rolling out. You ain't going to live that long if you're broke. Right? If you're on Social Security, they're gonna hook you into some statin. Oh, I can't even talk about the stuff they're gonna get into because you won't be able to put this on YouTube. But like, there's a whole slippery slope of how dangerous that outcome is. So it was just like the confluence of those factors, which some of them are like, I want to live a life of freedom. I don't want anybody telling me what to do. I don't want the man breathing. I can't deal with micromanagers. That's one thing, right? I have to get away from all these things I don't want: the job, the boss, the commute, the bullshit, the living in a high cost of living area. But then there's the lifestyle design side of it, right? I live on 20 acres here. I have a winter home that I get to travel to that's absolutely amazing. I love both. Like my lifestyle is just fantastic. And that's a very conscious thing. But in the early days, it was running away from the pain of being broke and working 60 hours a week. then once momentum started to happen, it was kind of like, this is great. How do I optimize this even further to get more freedom, to get more freedom, to get more freedom? Because like most people in our game, when they have their first $100,000 month or their first like 7-figure year, all they care about is more. And this is something I'm now watching roll out is more. I see 7-figure earners need to get to 8-figure earners. I see these 8-figure earners just burning the candle at both ends because they need to get to like 9 figures or something. And I was talking with a girl on this on the Nomad cruise, and she was like, "Yeah, I know my number," and da-da-da. I was like, "Cool, what is it?" She's like, 40 million. I was like, "Oh, Jesus." She was like, "I can't stop working or get off the treadmill and have a kid and raise a family until I have $40 million." And I'm like, "So are you talking Bitcoin or like dollars? Because if you have $40 million in a bank, like that, your purchasing power is just evaporating." And that mindset shift from some people. Whereas I do think that when you change the type of income that you earn, it's actually it's actually crazy how little one needs to live a very good life. As long as we're not distracted by the flashy gurus who are flexing in front of their Porsches, making you think you need $300,000 vehicles, right? That does change the game. If you think you need to be like Frank Kern and have 3 different Rolls Royces, I've heard rumors that his lifestyle's multiple 6 figures per month is his like base nut.
Yeah.
No thanks. I'll take, I'm getting mine down to where it's like $2,500 a month and my assets can just pay for it completely and I'm completely free to do what I want. And that to me is the golden outcome, but that's been an evolution of understanding, I think.
Yeah, I think you stumbled on something that's really important to freedom for an entrepreneur is the money that you make. People in this world of, this show is called The Monetize, and that's going to attract a lot of people who are into the, I want passive income. It's like you never get passive income from an active business. Mm-hmm. It's not possible. So somebody like Frank Kern has to continually work his ass off.
Yep.
And just to be able to cover the lifestyle. You stop working your ass off, then the lifestyle goes away.
Totally.
But if you put in the effort to create types of income that, with your earned income, you've got this earned income from your business.
Yep.
And if you turn that into other forms of income, assets that can pay you in the future, then you can have multiple.
True freedom.
Right. So it's like, oh, I want to, be all Andrew Tate and buy a Bugatti. It's like, okay, great. Because it's coming out of assets that are producing income versus your labor. If you're doing something like that, great. If you get hooked on the treadmill where I have to produce, so you've lost your freedom. You've now become a servant to your business, just so that you can get, fake money.
Yeah. And ultimately that's things, right?
Right.
And then it's the whole, like the things you own begin to own you kind of a concept. Mm-hmm. Right. So instead of a really fancy car that I have to care about and put like fancy fuel in, I've got a Jeep that I can smash on and sideswipe plants and bushes and not care about, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I put regular fuel in it and basic oil in it, and the maintenance is extremely low, but the fulfillment I get from smashing on that thing and 4-wheeling rock climbing is out through the roof, right? And it's like total net out the door for the newest model with the dopest drop top on it was like $32,000. It was nothing, right? And so it's these things of like, okay, what do I need in life? What do I want in life? And then you go one step farther, I think, of like what creates happiness and what creates fulfillment. And I think a lot of people are scared to go down that path. And I'm not. Like nature I feel great. I mean, like camping, hiking, 4-wheeling, paddleboarding, surfing, like when I'm in nature doing like physical human things, right? Using my meat suit, I just feel good. And a lot of that stuff is really cheap if you're in the right area. Yeah. Right. If you're in the right kind of climate, I got a lake here that I can go paddleboard on. It takes me 90 seconds to get down to the lake with my paddleboard, and I'm on the water, and it's a complete instant shift for me. And so as we start to build these things into our lifestyle, like living a free, fun life doesn't have to be that expensive. I mean, a garden, some hiking close by, some paddleboarding close by, and friends and family who you really care about, that's not that expensive. But yet most people growing up looking at social, looking at media, are trying to keep up with the Kardashians. They're trying to keep up with, you know, the Vaynerchuks, and they're living other people's lives and on these treadmills. They're not even looking at the treadmill. They're not even paying attention to the treadmill. They just stack another portion. The treadmill goes up. They don't fully understand it, all while inflation and a lot of the monetary fuckery that's going on from DC is also turning people's treadmill up at the exact same time, right? Like, and this is an additional tax. So we pay our taxes, we pay our inflation taxes, and then we pay our like lifestyle choice taxes.
Right.
Oh, you add all that together, and for some people, I mean, they're running $20,000, $30,000 a month when, like, that's doable. Like, I make enough to spend that much per month, but when I keep it down to $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a month as my monthly nut, I can pour all the rest of my available cash flow into assets that generate more cash flow, requiring me to need less cash flow for my active things because the cash flow from my passive things is going up, like Airbnbs and other investments, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's like cash flow quadrant for anyone listening who's like, they feel stuck because they feel like they're on a treadmill and they haven't got why, and they just were like, oh shit, that's me. I think starting to understand like the cash flow quadrant book from Kiyosaki is a good place to start to realize like the different types of cash flow and what those mean and ultimately can do for you in life.
For me, because I was one of those guys that I decided I wanted to succeed. I grew up poor, wanted to have everything. And it took a while for me to build up a bunch of money, spend all of it, having a lifestyle, and realizing that I was incredibly unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
And because I was living the unexamined life. I was just like, this is what you do. If you want, this is what success is because I saw it on TV.
Yep.
Right? A fancy car, fancy house, fancy people, fancy meals, the whole works, that's success. And I was just going after it nonstop. And until it came to a head with actual beliefs, principles that were deeply ingrained in me. It was an event. My daughter we were having breakfast because I was like, I'm a family man. Like, I'm all about family. Family's all I care about, right? But I'm like working 16, 18-hour days.
Yeah.
6, 7 days a week, right?
Right.
How much of a family man are you?
Right.
Your
heart's in one place, your head and your actions are in another place.
And she was talking at the breakfast table, and I'm not listening because I'm already worrying about all the stuff I had to do for that day with the 2 different businesses I was running. And she asked me something, and I responded, and I thought I just responded. And she said, "Dada, why are you mad at me?"
Whoa. Yep.
And I was like, I'm not mad. You
want to see
it was like, and that's when I realized I woke up at 90 out of 100.
Mm.
And my day was hitting 110, right? And that this core principle of my life was being destroyed by the unexamined life. The thing that I thought I needed to get respect from others and all this other stuff.
Right.
And the one thing that truly, truly mattered to my soul was sitting across the table, scared of me.
Yeah. Powerful
And
moment.
that was it. That was it. I was like,
Yep.
I'm done.
Yep.
This world changes now. That was my moment when entrepreneurship was not going to be for chasing money, but for gaining freedom.
Mm. So I remember on my path at one point, I was doing a bunch of I was following the gurus, I was doing their methods, et cetera, buying into their coaching programs and doing all their things. And I remember at one point being flat broke, having to move back into my parents' house, My wife and I were there. I had been making all these, oh, I'm an entrepreneur, babe. Like, we're going to do big things. Don't you worry. Had to move back in the parents at the age of 30 into their tiny ass house, which was extremely uncomfortable. Again, I grew up poor. This wasn't a big house. It wasn't like they had a free basement available for us. But it was out of that when I was so disgusted with the choices I had made, because I looked at how much money had gone to course creators and to people who I now see as just extremely unscrupulous marketers who will say absolutely anything to make a $3,000 guru sale. I just gave up on all of it. And I was like, I'm done. I'm never doing a course again. We're going to build this thing we're doing, but the money is like the orientation of the flow of the money is changing right here and right now. And I think that was one of my moments. It's very different from yours, but the point to the listener is that we all have these moments, these choice points, these mile markers, these forks in the road that we approach. And sometimes we have to take lots of action, maybe in the wrong or not extremely perfect direction, to get the feedback loop going, to get us to really get to those aha moments. So we don't all of a sudden keep going down a path and all of a sudden you're 65, you wake up and you're like, holy shit, where did 40 years go? Right. And you don't examine these things until the end, which is something I see as being very, very, very common for most people. Right. And once you really get clear on, okay, so money is a tool. I need to make some of it, right, to cover things so I'm not like dependent upon anybody, so I'm not a leech on the system or anyone else. But then there's the whole like money doesn't create that much happiness beyond a certain point. I'll tell you, as a multimillionaire who does 7-figure years, just to set the stage for people listening, I'm a lot happier now than I was when I was poor. Like, there's no joke about it. My sister was going on hard times. I sent her like thousands of dollars of food and pots and pans, all kinds of shit, right? And that feels good. I've sent my parents tens of thousands of dollars. Just go on a trip, go do things. And that feels good. Like that is great. But I've learned where the line is and isn't for me. And going to a big fancy event to go raw with the other people who use the same software tool to make affiliate marketing like MLM, I don't need to spend my money on that shit. I don't care. I don't want to go to the affiliate summit Vegas anymore. I don't need to spend my money on that kind of shit anymore. But a comfortable house, great food, good workout equipment, and the ability to not make a video for 3, 4, 5, 6 months if I don't want to. That's what I'm saving up for, and that's what my money is for. And again, as we shift into these other streams of income, which you can do some of them actively. You said there's no active income that generates passive, like our book sales. I gotta just like book royalties. Oh, it's one of those little ones that's in the correct thing, in the correct category from my perspective, but I don't live off the book sales. The books promote the opt-ins promote the offers. That gets people on my email list, and that's where we increase our lifetime customer value. So it is still a part of a greater machine there, but it just starts to think like, okay, I can do 40 hours of work product this week. Does Miles want to start doing coaching and do one-on-one coaching sessions and book some coaching and make an extra 10,000 this week? That would take up a bunch of time. Or would I rather just be out in the garden, hanging out with my cat, petting the cat, enjoying the sunshine, cooking, eating, paddleboarding, doing a camping trip? I'm gonna go with the latter. And that's a freedom decision because I've set myself up at this way in my early 40s to be able to make that decision. And that was a priority for 10 years. Right? Like I knew in 2017, I had to become an accredited investor. I didn't fully know what that meant. I didn't even know what the requirements were. I just knew that there was this group of people who did well, who had access to better deals than everyone else. I grew up in the everyone else category. I need to make this shift. So what did I have to do? I had to step up. I had to hustle. I had to scale things and stay really, really meticulous on my numbers and focus. And it's these types of thinking and these types of thoughts that luckily we can learn through podcasts and audiobooks. The knowledge is out there. It's not hidden.
Yeah, that's one of the key things is it's not hidden. It's not a secret. No one's hiding anything from you. All the rules to the game are published.
Right. So if I may, real quick, I think the only people hiding stuff from you are the greedy gurus who claim they have a secret inside of their $3,000 school, but you don't have to pay $3,000. You can get in the free school. So anytime you go log into school, anytime you go log into any of these things where they're trying to upsell you some coaching on the back end, the information they're trying to hide from you behind a multi-$1,000 paywall is absolutely freely available in your favorite LLM model. It's freely available on YouTube. It's freely available in books and audiobooks. It's been talked about and discussed. They do not know anything. They do not actually have a secret other than if you give them $3,000, they're going to go spend it on something stupid and they're going to have to go get another $3,000 from someone else.
Yeah. I was broke trying to build a business, and my education on how to build a business was free. I went to the library.
Bingo.
Checked out books, read books into the wee hours of night so that I could act on those things the very next day.
100%.
But so we've talked about this lifestyle, and this is a young podcast, or let's call it brand new podcast. And so I don't know who the exact listener is right now, like the person on the other side of the screen. We've talked about this lifestyle that is possible if you consciously build it. Mm-hmm. So for the entrepreneur, someone who's already in business, kind of like the guy I was, who was focused on just making money and letting everything else in his life fall apart. And then there's the person who saw the monetize and thought, oh, make money. I want to do that.
I'm in.
Right? I'm in. What's the first step? And you can pick either one to talk to.
Generally, I think it's figuring out your why, right? Getting super clear. Like for you, it was your daughter, it's your family, your ability to raise your kid, your ability to be there for your kid. We got to find these things that are bigger than ourselves, right? Because the Porsche, the mansion, the things that we see on social media that we think we want, that's not actually it. None of that creates fulfillment, which is why you see great musicians who are at the top of their game commit suicide. You see great actors and comedians who are at the top of their game commit suicide. We wouldn't see people who are at the absolute top pinnacle of their world commit suicide if success in and of itself was fulfilling at some level. Okay, so we have to define for ourselves what is our life goal, mission, purpose, etc. And just saying it like that, people freak the fuck out. Oh, it's a big concept. You just make something up for right now, and you just continue to adapt it and evolve it. But if the why isn't bigger than like money, when times get really difficult, because entrepreneurship is difficult, you won't have that perseverance, the motivation, the willingness to get back up and get punched in the face for 16 hours straight again and again, because that is kind of what it is, right? Like in this whole, you don't need a guru, you just need to learn by doing, which literally means trial and error. There's gonna be a lot of errors and a lot of trialing to get there, but that is how actual learning takes place. When a baby starts to walk, we do not coach it. We do not put it in $1,000 courses. We do not make it go to school, SKOOL, the shitty one. Yeah. You let the kids stand up and fall down. Like you try to move some of the really sharp edges away, but even then the kid's gonna fall on his head. At least, it's just a part of the process. So we just need to honor the process a little bit more. And when we have that why that's really big, that is the thing that when it's dark and difficult and you get real clear, and like for you sitting across with your baby girl, right? Like bingo, like the impact of that moment still resonates with you to this very day. Right. And then so for me, like a big part of it was that moment when it came from my rock bottom point. It came from bouncing off of rock bottom and having to move back in with my parents. And it was like, never again, right? Like Gandalf on the bridge, like thou shalt not, like I have chills right now. The life force energy that I tapped into in that moment of disgust, bingo. And everything started to work when I made that shift internally. And you got the carrot or you got the stick. You want to go towards the family and the beautiful life and being able to raise your kid and walk your kid to school each and every day. If that's the most important thing in your life, hold on to that. Or if there's the stick. If you are you hate your boss, you hate being broke, you're just so frustrated and tired at it, that can also be the source for the next gear. And we're kind of getting into that like know thyself part, right? Because every human's a little bit different. How do we get leverage on ourselves? It's a worthy question. It's something to look into. Your past, your individual past. When have you made accomplishments in your past? Most people have made some sort of accomplishments, whether it's academic or even through sports or something, and you can start to tap into this, like, how did I persevere through all the shit I did. Like my wife played Division I basketball in college, right? She persevered through a lot of shit to be able to play at that level and get a full ride scholarship. So when it came time to like persevere in the content, SEO, marketing, email list growth world, she had that mechanism in there. She was able to kind of like connect to that other thing that she already had and had used. She just needed to like refocus the magnifying glass to shine the light in a new direction.
All right. So somebody has to know what they want, or even maybe even better, what they don't want, to a strong enough level that they take step 2.
Yes.
What's step 2?
Yeah, like I feel like step 2 might actually be interestingly, it's some combination of brainstorming. And I think today the best move is to bounce that off of an LLM, like Claude, like an AI. Who can I help and how can I help them? Would technically be the next 2 questions I would want someone to ask. If I was doing a session with someone, it would be who can you help and how can you help them? So when Melanie and I were working on building an info product business, she was doing one-on-one readings as services. I was doing one-on-one marketing services for people doing SEO and essentially like WordPress website development, because selling services is the fastest way to making money, period. And I think with the AI age we're in right now, God, my monthly reporting for clients would have been beautiful. It would have been on time, and it would have taken me even less time than my shitty reports I sent out to people that I did manually. So I really think that this is the world. So it's like, who can you help and what can you help them with? And hopefully you've been taking action and doing something, right? Like when I was building WordPress websites for people, I was not a WordPress genie. I was not a coder. I didn't study this stuff in school. I knew more than the lady who owned the yoga shop down the street. And I said, sure, I can figure that out for you. And I went and hired a guy on Upwork in India to do the work for me. Today, I would just plug it into Claude and I would have Claude do all of the work for me, or Lovable or Cursor or any one of the bazillion options we have now to this. And then from there, it's like, okay, so I know why I'm going to do the difficult things. I have something bigger than me to do the difficult things because it's going to get difficult. Now I have thought about and figured out who I can help and what I can help them with. And if you don't know that off the top, for me, I was neck deep in WordPress. I knew how to get WordPress websites ranking on the top of Google. Ta-da. Like, you don't have to think too far beyond that. It wasn't working for our niche meditation. We were making 50,000 visits a month, which wasn't full-time income for us, but all kinds of people in my local community wanted that.
Can I interrupt? Can I interrupt right here? Because you're starting to touch on the niche. And one of the things that you and I have both heard for decades is, well, I don't know what to pick.
Yeah.
Right? What's my niche? Yeah. And for me, I've always told people the easiest place to make money is where you're already making money.
Yeah, right. Obviously, totally.
Because you don't have to learn new skills. You don't have to learn any. It's like somebody's already paying you to solve something.
Yep.
Like, find more people with that problem.
100%. Yep. And so what I did in the beginning is I figured out how to publish content online myself. So I solved the problem for Melanie and I, and that was it, right? And then I did like a website for a cousin, and I was like, look, it's not just me. I did another one over there. So do more of what's already working. Oh, it's pretty simple business philosophy. Yeah. You talk about that a lot though too, because as entrepreneurs, we sometimes get a bit addicted to building and to new and to shiny and different and shiny object syndrome. And I need to go vibe code 18 new softwares because no, I don't. Like, I literally don't actually need to do any of that shit. I can just enjoy my life. So everyone listening just heard me kind of go off on that like vibe coding tangent, and I want to bring it back. Like, if you're not making money, like the fastest path to making money is to go help people who are making money. Because there's all these little businesses, there's all these people in your world, in your local community who are making $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month. And every night over their glass of wine or the beer, when they're talking to their friends, they're like, I just can't find good help. Boy, I'd love to find somebody to help me with my marketing. Boy, you'd think somebody would love to help me. And they can't find good help. And there's people listening to this who are like, man, I just love a project to work on and I just don't know who to help. And this is the difficult part. You got to get out from behind your computer. And so what I did is I started running a local meetup group, and it was the Law of Attraction meetup group. My thought was, people who get the law of attraction are going to understand you have to put out valuable content first before attracting people to your website, right? I thought, like, if I can get over that hurdle and know they know what the law of attraction is, then this whole marketing via the law of attraction through my services would be relatively easy. So I did the difficult work of finding a yoga studio. I built her that website, same girl, and started to run this little meetup group. Cost me 20 bucks a month or something for a meetup account. And bingo, now I had 5 people come into a little room, and I talk to them, and I go sit down with them and start helping them, and just literally, who can I help? And I got to make this really clear. I was not asking for these people for money. They didn't pay to show up to my little meetup group. I wasn't pitching them paid services at the meetup group. I was like, if you want to sit down and talk about your business and your online marketing over coffee, I would be happy to do it for a cup of coffee. Everybody bought me a cup of coffee. Most of those people signed up as clients eventually because I maintained that. Let me just help. Who can I help? What can I help them with? I don't know if I can help you. Let's sit down and see if I can help you. Oh, okay, I can help you. Do you want to keep going? It would be $1,000 a month. And they said, yeah. And I was like, shit, maybe I should have said $2,000 a month. So the next person I did, bing, up, snowball. I'm on the path. Here it goes, right? And eventually, all of a sudden I'm doing 40, 50 hours of client work per week, and my wife's info product business is finally starting to catch up on cash flow. And this is that rebalancing of the type of income that I've been earning. That's where I started playing that rebalancing the type of income game that I've been really fascinated with for at least 10 years.
All right. All right. Any final words you want to give to someone listening? That heard about this lifestyle. They've heard about the work that it takes. What's
possible? It's possible. You can do it. Like, I think one of the smartest things I ever did was I moved to somewhere that was so freaking cheap that I set the bar so low for myself that it was easy to get over the bar. So for me, that looked like going to school in Albuquerque, New Mexico, when I grew up in the Bay Area and I had been living in Santa Monica, California. Some fancy ass places. Grew up in some fancy, shiny, pretty expensive places, and I moved to the Burque, which is a beautiful place. I didn't know it at the time. It's a beautiful place, but it's cheap. So my room was 285 bucks. I had a room, all my utilities and everything was $285 per month. And I got into real estate investing. I got into doing all kinds of different things because everything in life was cheaper. And I was able to have a lot more free time because my monthly nut was so low. And that willingness to say goodbye to my friends and the fancy lifestyle and where everybody convinces themselves that the Bay Area is the best place that you've ever been. And then you go to Southern California and everybody in SoCal thinks, oh, it's just the greatest place you've ever been. And I don't know, man, like they're all just hemorrhaging money and they're all broke and they're all busy as could be. And then to break away from that, to go live in a different way. And then from there, we ended up going full nomad for like 5 years. So Melanie and I actually built most of our business from the beaches of Costa Rica, Mexico, Thailand, living even cheaper with a drastically higher quality of living. Right. And so it's these kind of like arbitrages that we have in life that when you start to analyze things, where's my time going? What's the return on that time? Where's all my fucking money going? Oh, it's going to California state taxes and to overpriced rent. What if I cut all of that out and make a drastic shift? And then this is like people, oh, I can't do that, Miles. And then it comes right back to that thing we said earlier is how bad do you want it? I wanted it that frickin' bad. I left the Bay Area. I left a beautiful place. I left California behind. Gorgeous place. Left it all. My family, friend, like all of it. Do I, no regret, none. Like I love it. I love the freedom because all my friends who were making $250,000 a year back then, and they're still making $250,000, they're fucking broke. They're on the treadmill full speed. And I've been doing whatever I kind of want. Like we hang out, right? Midweek, we go hiking, we go jeeping, we go do goofy stuff when we want because that's the most valuable thing in my life. So it's like this, like, okay, how bad do you want it? Do you want it bad enough? And then from there, it's like, just start helping people. Figure out how you can help people and do the work for free if you have to. Come up with a $50 offer if you're like, oh, I can't work for free, blah, blah, blah. Cool, just see if you can get some yeses. And then see if you can get a yes with a little bit of money exchanging hands, and then see which things get you more yeses down the, it's a path. And once you start following this little path of, do you want this? Do you want that? Yes or no? Do you want this? Do you want that? Yes or no? Do you want this? Do you want that? Yes or no? You learn all these little things. And that's when life starts to get easier, is when you have all those insights from the dozens or hundreds of tests. People are hoping they can get those insights from the gurus and their $3,000 courses. Right. But nothing teaches like life experience.
Right. Awesome. I appreciate you coming on, being my first interview guest for this new show. I really love it. For everyone listening, I'll probably put, I will have probably put in an intro to this, but go to milesbeckler.com, or there'll be a link.
Find me on the socials.
Yeah.
I'm the only Miles Beckler.
Yeah. Miles Beckler. Easy to spell, easy to find, and there'll be a link to go check it out.
Thanks, dude. I'm glad you're doing this, Tim. I think it's needed. I think it's time, and I think you need a hobby. So let's give you something to do out there in your new digs, my man.
All right, brother. Take care.
I love it. Good to catch up.